What's going on, y'all? It is still Wednesday. Pick up from the last video. Pops and I are still down here working in the shop.
Yo.
And we've had to do a little bit of tweaking on the rear T-bar of the car. And we've been discussing some suspension stuff tonight. But right now, we've got some more decking stuff to do on the dash. Y'all remember we talked about we had to get an access panel to get to our master cylinders. And we picked up a Dominator Race Products 8x14, and that is going to allow us to get to the master cylinders a lot easier. So we got that drawn out, got it traced out. We just got to drill our little holes, and then we'll trim all that out and start putting that panel in. That's what we're going to do first thing this evening. But I'll go over real quick what we had to do. I know we've had some people ask why the car sits unlevel. And why it sits the way it does in the shop. So
Floor in the shop.
Dad, Pop said the floor of the shop's unlevel. So but we'll explain all that. Y'all hang out. Alrighty, so as the car sits right now, it is level. We level off the halo, and then we are level back here across the top of the rear cover. And the reason we had to do that is because Pops and I thought we were good on our rule, and I'll explain. It's the decking rule. I think I've mentioned it before. The rules that we run in Mississippi, East Mississippi, North Alabama, South Alabama, from the back window, theoretically, from where the back window would be in a Monte Carlo, G-body, whatever, Cutlass, Regal, from the back window to the top of the rear bumper cover has to be a minimum of 2-inch drop from the back window to the top of this. When we got to measuring our decking and everything, after we got it all pot riveted in, we were only about 1.5 inches on that side, and we were like 1.75 inches on this side. So obviously we weren't level, and we also weren't legal. So Pops and I come in earlier. I think there's a piece laying right here. Right there. That is the end of this T-bar stud right here. So what we done is we just took those bolts out, and Pops held up on the bumper cover, and I just took the grinder and cut that tube off. We sat it down on this bar right here, the chassis, re-drilled our holes, and now you can tell that it has some more drop in it. And that is because it is 2 3/16 on both sides now. We got it level across the back, and when both sides drop the same from this T-bar right here, which would be technically the back window of a G-body. So we're 2 3/16 drop. The rule says minimum 2 inch, so we're over that 2 inch, so we'll be good. Y'all know how we do, like we explained on Dustin's car when we were building it. If there's a rule, we like for there to be no question when they walk up and check it. So we have a jack under the right side of the frame. For those wondering why the car was sitting unlevel, it's not a big deal. I'll just explain for those that are asking. On these cars, we run a 13-inch tall right rear spring. On the left rear, we're running a 16-inch tall spring. They are 5x16, 5x13. And on front, we're running the stock height 5.5 by 11. So we would run cups. A lot of people like to run the big adjustable cups. Our rules state that if you do run the adjustable cups up front, they have to be welded. So the only benefit to that would be you can go to a 9.5-inch tall spring, but when a control arm on a metric car travels up, the bottom of your shock travels out. So that allows that shock to get into that cup that is inside that spring, because the shock runs up through there as well, and they run out of real estate. So we like to run the tall factory length springs. That way you don't have those cups in there and you don't tear up a shock body. And the car does sit high, but it's not real high. It's about, I'd say, probably factory ride height in the front. And which we are running pretty stiff springs in the front. We're going to be doing some changing there. We made some phone calls today, talked to some shock guys. We are going to use Robbie Crabtree at Dark Horse Racing Shocks. He has some cars local to us on shocks. We have talked to those guys. He was very highly recommended. So I gave Robbie a call today and spoke with him. And hopefully soon we're going to get some shocks coming this way. That's a big ticket item, so it may take us a little while to get them. But we want the car to be right when it goes to the racetrack. And Robbie is going to consult with us on setup as well as springs and shock package. So that way we can get a good thing going when we go to the racetrack. But for now, Pops and I are about to knock out this panel, get it put in. We'd like to get that done tonight. And then we may go ahead and make our piece that goes on the dash here that's going to lip up in front of my hands over there. And we may make it a little bit taller than 1 inch. I mentioned that before. We may go 2-inch tall, just so it gives a little bit of protection, I guess, from rocks and stuff on the steering wheel. So y'all hang out. Alrighty, y'all. Y'all seen in the time lapse, Pops and I decided to go ahead and pot rivet all that across that T-bar right there. It was a little tricky because we have bolts in here that bolted the firewall. This T-bar is welded to the firewall and it's bolted to these tabs. We should have welded it before powder coat, but we bolted it. And that rivet right there was dead on top of that bolt. So it was a little tricky, but it all worked out. We got our rivets across there. And y'all seen us get the access panel in. It looks good. And we got to change our washers and put them on the bottom. But if I can get it open, Lord help. All right. So we got our panel in. We can access our master cylinders, all of our wiring. We have a fuse right in there, fuse link for our right front brake cutoff. And then solenoid switch. And we can access all that from that panel. So it looks good, turned out good. Dominator Race Products. I know y'all probably checked them out. Bentley Shaw makes a great product. Also, if you haven't watched it, I just thought about this. He done a video on his new plastic body panels, and he had it laying across a 55-gallon drum. And he was wearing that body panel out with a ball peen hammer. And when he zoomed in on that panel, it had 0 scratches in it. So, pretty neat. Pretty neat. It'd be neat to do plastic on this, but we don't know if we're going to do a wrap yet. We'd love to do a wrap, but they are pricey. So, we may just put yellow sides on it. Of course, we have our white rockers. And that'll go around the bottom. And then we may just do lettering. So, I like clean, old school look of lettering, like simple. And but we've never had anything wrapped, so it'd be cool to see it wrapped. But for now, the next thing we're going to do is probably make this piece for this dash. It'll be the next thing Pops and I do, but it probably won't get done tonight. So y'all hang out with us. Tomorrow night, we're going to come back and do that. Y'all hang out. All right, y'all. It's Thursday, and Pops and I are back in the shop this evening.
Yo!
And we are going to work on getting that piece bent for the dash and get that lip rolled up on there. And hopefully that'll turn out good for us. And what we're going to do is, I've got a piece of sheet metal laying here. I'm going to cut the length I need. This piece of sheet metal is like 4.5 inches tall. So when we double it over, it'll be like 2 1/4. So we're going to bend an inch on it. That inch is going to go up under our dash piece that goes across. And then that way, you know, we'll have like 1 1/4 inches or so sticking up. So it's no big deal. It's just something to kind of help deflect a little bit and just cover anything that may come under that windshield bar. And we didn't put a rock guard on it because most of them are round and you can do the flat. We thought about doing the old school plexiglass flat rock guard, but we may do that later on. It's cool. Ain't no big deal. And
2.5, 3 inch piece of Lexan and power rivet it right onto that 1 inch lip sticking up.
Yeah, that's true. Well, now that you mention that, I could lip up 1 inch instead of 2 inch. I was gonna lip up like 1 1/4 inches.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So I could lip up 1 inch
and then
put plexiglass on it. That's not a bad idea. Pops was saying we could pot rivet a piece of plexiglass to the piece that we put across the dash. So that's a pretty good idea there. Cause I like the old school stuff. I know back in the day they used to do the flat plexiglass and you know, they would bend it in a break, or sometimes you could bend it, sometimes it wouldn't bend.
If it was Lexan.
Yeah, if it was Lexan you could bend it, but well, if we bend this lip up, then we can just get us a piece of plexiglass or Lexan or whatever and put it across there just to get a straight, we can get a straight piece. And I know some guys have got some Lexan probably laying around. All my drag racing buddies have got some flat pieces. So we'll probably do that. We'll probably just lip it up. I'm gonna cut this piece down to 4 inch then, and that way when we double it, it'll be 1 inch turned up, and then that'll give us something to pot rivet to. So yep. That'll work. Y'all hang out. Before we get started, I don't know what Pops did with the box.
It's over there on top of the toolbar.
No.
I put it back in the bag.
Before we get started, we had a package come in from Mr. Rick Jones. And Mr. Rick hooked us up with an All-Star fuel filter. And he told us that we may have to change the element in it, but that ain't no big deal. We can run out to Doug's at Microwave Motorsports, and he keeps the elements for these on the shelf. Appreciate you, Mr. Rick. He gave us some number 8 fittings, some 90s, some straights, and even one that'll take a pressure gauge. So some hose. We definitely will be using it. Pops and I have already been measuring on the car what we can do with this hose. And on our fuel cell, the main feed is a number 10 line. The return and the vent are both number 8. And what we may do is get an adapter. Well, not an adapter. I think they make a 90 that goes from dash 10 to dash 8. And we may just get a 90 like that and put on here and run a dash 8 or number 8 line because it'll be plenty of fuel. Number 8 is, I was reading on it just a little bit ago, and number 8 is 1/2 inch inside diameter, and that's plenty to support what we're doing with the horsepower levels we're at with the Vortec headed 350, and then running a 2-barrel 4412. You know, you don't need tons of volume, but we'll put that dash 8 on here and we'll use it. We may have to, none of the pieces are long enough to run from the filter all the way to the motor, but definitely going to use that to run from the fuel cell to the fuel filter, and then also do our vent. And then we still have to get a number 8 cap to cap the return part of our fuel cell because we don't run a return. So yeah, shout out to Mr. Rick for hooking us up with the fuel stuff. That'll definitely help us. That'll give us enough fittings to do everything, and then I can go out to Doug's and get a piece of hose to go from the filter housing to the carburetor, or to the fuel pump. Sorry, and then we can go from the fuel pump up to the carb. So, heck yeah, that'll help us a lot, y'all.
Hey, we can always put an electric fuel pump in there.
Yeah,
That'd
go over real well.
Get disqualified right now.
Yeah. And we're probably going to do that anyway with them spindles on there. But if y'all remember, we have Camaro spindles on the front of this car. I'm trying to set up the tripod. And our rules state that you have to run spindles for the car. You have to run metric spindles on a metric car, Camaro spindles on a Camaro car, so forth and so on. And if y'all remember back when we were putting the front end of this car together, we have Camaro spindles. And the reason for that was a Camaro spindle is a little taller and they are wider. When you put Camaro spindles on a metric front end car and you can run a 60-inch wide floater rear end housing like we are, it gets that front end the same width as the rear end. And then you can really play with your wheel offset and spacers if you need to. But we're gonna have to get some spindles for the front of this car because we obviously don't want to be illegal when we go to the racetrack. So if y'all want to hang out with us, I'm gonna leave it on real time for just a little bit. And I'm gonna cut that piece of sheet metal that's laying right there under that tape measure. And then we'll get it over there in the brake and get it bent and put it over there. So y'all hang out. You get you carpenter beat hit me right in the chest.
Should.
Oh. It got warm enough today, they all come out.
Yeah. Yesterday and today.
Let's see. 28 inches. Go on now. You're getting a little kamikaze.
Get me a piece of wood before.
Yeah. Yeah, you remember that old red wolf ball bat we had?
Yeah.
If you grew up playing outside like we did, we had a red wiffle ball bat and we would go out here and hit bees with them. You bounce it off everything.
Yeah. We got him started up.
Are we on camera? I don't know if we're on camera over here.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, I need to make sure we're on camera. People here talking and we need to see it's working.
You need that in?
I don't remember. I think it's that end. 28 inch. Yeah, it's gonna be that end.
Okay.
I'm not gonna trim it down width-wise because it'll be 1.25 inches sticking up.
Okay.
So that way, I mean, we ain't gotta try to cut that long piece there. They need to mark half of that.
Well, we've got to pull the whole plastic off to do this. Fold it completely over, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't gonna see the mark, it'll be behind it.
It'll be inside.
Mark on the daggone car. I've done that 2 or 3 times. Can't have nothing nice.
What did that Papa used to say? Tear up a tank with a rubber hammer.
Yeah. I'm sure I could do that as a kid. Now we'll get her bent. Zoom in over there. I'll leave it on real time. That way y'all can watch I can kind of hear some thunder.
Oh, yeah, there's supposed to be a few storms tonight.
There's a lot of traffic tonight.
It's been that way all day, sir. So, if I start tightening down, I start going in.
Oh, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or maybe this was coming out.
Yeah. Probably. That's probably it.
We need
Tractor. Tractor. Pull up on that handle. Tell you what, we could clamp it.
and get closer,
Yep.
and then take the clamp off.
Yep.
Hey, Kurt,
Yep.
hold down on that end right there, right here, in the middle.
Well, I was trying to, but kept pushing it up.
Ready?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Look at that. Look at that.
You can tighten it up a little bit.
Now let me mark
1 inch,
1 inch, and then, well, I can mark 1.25 inches.
and go measure either way.
Yeah. And then,
I don't need that more, do
then we'll lip it up. Yeah, I can hear thunder for sure now.
we? Yeah.
I know that there's some bad storms out west of here right now. I've
Yeah.
seen some tornado warnings earlier and stuff.
Coming out of South Mississippi.
We hope that everybody's safe for sure.
Yeah. It's tonight and tomorrow is not supposed to be good.
Yeah, I know we're supposed to get some tonight, and then in the morning,
Yeah.
in the morning be real bad. That goes under the dash. You think more?
Just a little bit. Cause we put a piece of, there you go.
About like it?
Yeah. So that way if we put a piece of leg sand on there to have just a little, it won't be laying
We'll be
back.
laying back, way back.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, a little battery.
You gotta get the plastic off of it. I'll turn y'all back around. I don't want the video to get too long, so I'll probably throw it up on time lapse, y'all. We're gonna get this thing pot riveted on. Y'all hang out. All right, y'all. Well, we got our little lip on there. You can see what we're talking about. Pop's closing the door. We're about to go to the house. We got our little lip bent up there, and what we was talking about was Pops was saying we can get some Lexan and put in here, you know, 2 inch, 3 inch tall, whatever, and just pot root it to that, and that'll be plenty strong enough because that's doubled up. So it worked out good. Worked out how we thought it was going to. How we wanted it to anyway. Zoom in. There she is. And what we were looking at just then, if y'all remember, we had that little wall in there that our gas pedal's mounted to. We're gonna measure over to that and pot rivet this dash to that, because we have a lip bent over on that just for that. That way we'll just keep this dash from flopping, and it'll tighten all this up. So, but for now, it's probably gonna be the end of this video. We're about to go to the house because the storms are getting closer. I don't know if y'all could see out the door on the time lapse, but the lightning's getting closer and it don't sound too good west of here. So we're gonna call tonight. We're gonna call it a video, and hopefully tomorrow we'll be back in the shop and get some more done. Good Lord willing. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Can't thank y'all enough. We got some more to come with the factory stock. Got to say thank you again to all the sponsors that we have: Patrick Nicole Langley, Jesse Merriman, Ben Keith Racing, Jamie Lewis helps us a lot, Rick Jones, Mike Fisher, and there's been some guys ask for our address, so I don't know if we got more stuff coming. And I will be updating the Amazon wish list tonight, and because I've had people ask what else we need for the motor build, and there are a few more things that we need, so I'll be updating that, and I will post the link of that Amazon wish list in the comments of this video. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. Can't thank y'all enough. Till next time.
Appreciate it, guys, gals. Thank y'all very much for all the kindness and our nice comments. And we don't care if they're nice or not. We just read them anyway, but we like them. That way we learn things as we go.
That's right.
But until next time, God bless you.
See y'all.